they were all living together.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will move into the consensus agenda.
Yeah, I move that we approve expenses for the last month. It comes to vouchers to $447,137.55. We have two payrolls. They come to $352,842.62 for a total of $799,980.17. In that motion, I'll also move that we approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Second that.
It's been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. On to our public hearing. Oh, nope, patrons' comments. Any patrons' comments? Nope. On to the public hearing.
So the public hearing is just if any public would have any recommendations or suggestions as we move towards bargaining the next contract. So we have nobody
No one here?
on site.
Nothing online?
Looks like we do not have any messages online. So
All right, we will go on to personnel.
all right, I make the recommendation that we approve the ECA contracts. And let's go ahead and put the status quo teacher contracts in there as well. Obviously, the explanation behind that is we can begin informal bargaining. We can begin informal bargaining in August, but we can't officially bargain anything until September after count day, September 15th. So typically we do informal conversations. So we will be going about that. So right now, status quo teacher contracts looking to be a really, really good bargaining session. So we're excited about that for our teachers.
I move we approve the ECA contracts and status quo teacher contracts.
I'll second that.
Moved by Ken, seconded by Steve. Any discussion?
Yes, so when you do the minutes, Anita, I need you to show that I recuse myself from the Lee Taylor Eads. That's my great niece.
And I need you to show that obviously I recuse myself from my wife's.
Me too, probably. I don't think so. She's not in that.
On down.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the top
there?
two,
How far down
status
do you have
quo.
to- Everybody's related to everybody in Bourbon. How far do you have to keep recusing yourself?
So for the top two, that would probably only be
Probably me.
Mr. Stichter for now with the status quo.
Okay, so Steve seconded that motion. Can you do that?
So
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Get to Wes.
Yeah, nice job, Steve.
I didn't even think of it.
All right, any
Come on.
other discussion?
And
All in favor?
he's not included.
All right. Thank you. 5-0 with Steve abstaining or recusing himself for his wife.
That one.
all right, the next portion, let's go ahead and just we'll lump some of those. And then obviously the one Kevin, Mr. Boyer talked about, we'll do that one separately. So
Okay.
that makes it a little bit easier on the record keeping.
The hyphen is in the wrong spot on
So I recommend the approval of Logan Lind as part-time elementary cafeteria worker, Ariana Bontrager, substitute teacher for Mrs. Vermillion. Hannah Snyder is sixth grade teacher. Mrs. Christy Richardson is kindergarten teacher. Annie Klein is crossing guard. And last on that list, Kennedy Kroll as varsity softball coach. Should I make those recommendations at this time?
Okay.
I move we approve those as presented to us.
Second.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
And last but not least, I make the recommendation for Lee Taylor Eads as kindergarten instructional assistant.
Move that we approve that. As long as we acknowledge it's Lee Taylor Eads.
Hyphens in the wrong.
Hyphen is in the wrong spot.
Right, it needs.
Her name is Lee Taylor.
Hyphen Taylor. Eads is the last.
Former student, I remember that.
Gotcha.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Ken, seconded by Wes.
Good job, Wes.
All in favor? Motion passes with
one recusement. All right, on to business.
All right, I recommend the approval of the permission to advertise the capital projects budget and the bus replacement plan.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Ken.
Kevin,
Kevin, seconded by Steve.
no hyphen.
No. Any other discussion?
It's funky tonight.
All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the adoption of the, this is something we have to re-adopt every year, so it stays the same. We just have to re-adopt it. So when the teacher appreciation grant comes along, we can continue to go about that the same way that we have in the past, which is simply it goes to the teachers. So I recommend the approval of the teacher, I recommend the adoption of the teacher appreciation grant.
I so move.
Second. Go ahead. Ken seconded.
All
Make
right.
it easy on you.
Motion was made by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the approval of Buy Board, which is a national purchasing cooperative. We are in the process right now of wanting to update our football bleachers to bring those up to compliance. So we actually, in order to do that, we could go through a bid process, or we can actually use a national purchasing cooperative, which actually allows us to utilize the pricing that they have used on similar projects for our project. And so Buy Board happens to be the company that Southern Bleacher utilizes, and that is the vendor that we have been utilizing to get pricing and suggestions. So I'd recommend the approval of Buy Board.
I approve, whatever. Make a motion, we approve Buy Board. Sorry.
I'll second that.
Been made by Wes, seconded by Steve. Any other discussion?
Yes. What's our out on that agreement?
And what's it cost us?
The
Anything?
costs us nothing. I'm not exactly sure the question of the
What if,
out.
what if we decide at some point somebody else comes along with a much better deal and we want to, what's our obligation?
So-
Is there like-
This is just bleacher pricing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a one-time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. It's specifically for that project.
Okay.
And really allows
We do
them
not
not.
have to use it for anything else.
Yeah.
Just the things we want to.
Okay.
And to that point, we actually used. I want to. That's
The
all.
healthy bleachers in the gym, we used a different purchasing program.
Yeah.
Once again, it was just a national bid program. Instead of us going out for individual bids, these companies have already done it.
Okay.
And you can elect to use their
Okay.
pricing instead of going out.
Okay, so they've gone out and solicited the more.
They've already done that.
Right. Done that for you.
That's
Okay.
exactly right. So it really, I think, to your point, is to say so you can't be taken advantage of or undercut and all those things. So it's. Sourcewell was the one that we used for the trench bleachers. Yes, exactly. So
Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the approval of purchasing a carpet cleaner for our maintenance staff.
I move we do.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, second by Ken. Any other discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. On to superintendent report.
All right, as is typical, let's align with our core values and just talk a little bit about what's happening as we lead up to our school year that starts on Wednesday. So continuous improvement. Triton will be using a more robust system for evaluation and student data this school year. Administrators were trained last week and staff was trained today on how best to utilize these tools for their own growth and how to utilize these tools for student data to drive instruction. Triton School Corporation staff participated in professional development today, learning new things learning new things as part of our everyday life, and we'll continue to do our best to be up to date on the latest instructional techniques, growing trends, research-based methods to maximize student growth. A lot of the things that were done today, which I'm sure Mrs. Cook and Mr. McCann are going to report out on, of just talking through our evaluation system, helping our teachers get a better view of that, talking through our school safety procedures, roles, and responsibilities when it comes to some of those things. Also, the one I mentioned before is Pivot, which is just a new platform that we'll be using for student data and evaluation. So just a lot of different things covered today, along with just the typical year-to-year introduction of staff and those type of things. Shared leadership, I just want to give a kudos to our maintenance department under the direction of Bruce Gephardt. Has done a tremendous job this summer working on cleaning the buildings and making sure things are in good working order for the arrival of staff today and the students on Wednesday. Several of the maintenance workers also spent the weekend during Summerfest as a way to be a resource and keep things running smoothly. Currently, Bruce is directing an electric crew that will be fixing our digital sign. That's been a long time coming. That was this winter when the underground line was severed, so they have been working on that, and just like it is in many of your guys' businesses, getting people to come in and get those things done on a small project like that has been very, very difficult. So that is being done. That started on Friday and was continuing to be worked on today. Social responsibility. A successful Bourbon Summerfest was held on the Triton School Corporation campus this last weekend. There was something for everyone. It was a great event. Triton scholars were able to participate and make money for their own clubs and organizations. Thank you to Lonnie Berkey for organizing this successful event for our community at large. So many individuals played an important role. I know Mr. Boyer was one of those that just working through the logistics.
The guys from Elkhart that brought the bounce houses down, they tore down right when it was starting to get dark, and when we got there Sunday morning, we noticed that some of the big metal stakes that hold those down were. So I delivered those personally today on my way to work.
Yeah. There are a lot of people from a lot of different places, and that's their only view of Bourbon, and I think they were treated very well, and I think it's good for our community. So it was a great weekend for Bourbon and surrounding communities. Accountability, each person just talking about how all of our students and employees have a share, or our stakeholders in our accountability. So I just want to review our goals that we shared at our board retreat. So one is reading, is to increase the percent of students reading at or above grade level to 85%, and math is to increase our overall pass rate on standardized tests by at least 20 percentage points. We did talk about the implementation of NWEA, which is a formative assessment, and Pivot that will allow more focused effort for small group instruction. I did have on here our institutional goals. I won't spend a lot of time on those, but just the little pieces that we're going to do day by day to continue to make sure that we're trying to meet some of those broader goals. One of those, which was shared to our staff, both of our staffs in their staff meeting as well, was just getting back to the basics, trying to get back to the things that have helped us be successful. And a lot of that is just that time and attention for individual kids and that small group instruction for those that need that extra little bit of help. High expectations. I can't say enough right now for our tech staff who has worked really, really hard. So Jordan Breeden, Carol Bulis, Troy Shirk deserve congratulations and great work for their efficient and diligent work this summer. New fiber was installed between the buildings, the junior, senior high school and the elementary. New Chromebooks were delivered and prepared before school was even out last year. The technology department made our teacher workspaces much more efficient by removing wires and putting together a technology guide. I shared that with you guys today in an email just to give a good idea of what our teachers saw when they came into their workspaces today and how to best utilize their whiteboards and document cameras. Jordan was able to find a no-cost solution to phone extension, so we can now use an extension to call out to the bus garage, where always before we had to use an outside line. So that's just more efficient for our people. Fuel Master Reader, he was able to find a fix to where the fobs could actually, or not fobs, but I think our IDs could tell who was getting gas, just to make sure that we're monitoring how much gas is going in each bus and why and who's doing that, just for accountability purposes. Cameras are also ordered and prepared to be installed out by the bus garage. Cameras were also linked at the elementary and the high school to one system. So it used to be to where if Mr. Van Houten or Mrs. Cook was going to look at cameras and possibly they needed to look at those cameras out at the playground, they would have to go to two separate systems. And what he did is he pulled all of those into one system to where you can go on, you can track if somebody's in the building or if a kid is hurt or those type of things all in one system. So the efficiency of that is just tremendous. The internet has been updated at the bus garage, baseball diamonds, football field, and the Ernie Watkins Pavilion as we give the option of electronic tickets this year. So just to make that efficient, so that's easier for our customers as they enter our facilities. So kudos to him. I appreciate his solution focus or problem solving abilities, and I love that. Another thing we talked a little bit before we started the board meeting was our new website. Is going to be going live here very shortly. We're excited about what that looks like. It's just so much more clean, so much more easy to navigate. So when we work out a couple of the kinks there, we're going to make sure that that goes live here real soon. And I think our patrons, I think our community, I think our school corporation will be very, very proud of what that looks like and how easy that is to navigate and get information and look at the calendars and all that fun. So that has been an area of concern in the past, and we're going to continue to make progress in that area. So alignment over the last couple weeks, Triton administration team and directors have engaged with new teachers, new bus drivers, substitute teachers in order to explain and reinforce expectations for those individuals who will be working with our scholars. Triton administrators have also engaged with hospital personnel, business owners, and patrons about some exciting opportunities coming our way through CTE C3 that we're going to be unveiling a little bit of information on. That is going to take the place of NG3, and the reason that is taking place is just there's some inefficiencies with the organization that actually is based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and how they run business in large corporations in Atlanta compared to how we can run those in a small town and with the people that we have. So you'll be seeing some of those things come out, but watching all of those and how our counselors have worked together over the last 3 weeks has just been so refreshing. So I'm so excited for our kids. I'm excited for our community. I'm excited for our staff to have all of those things working together, going and showing a lot of synergy, working in the same direction. And then, so we're just a lot of good things happening. We're excited for today to be over. It's always a big day when staff comes on site and we have professional development. We work through some of the kinks of how we're going to be best when students come on site on Wednesday. So we're looking forward to our kids. And as we always end our board retreats is remembering our why, right? Remembering why we're doing what we're doing. We can get caught in the minutia of buying things and programs and all of those things, but remembering that Wednesday is our why, when our kids show up and when they start needing us, and we can be a resource to them and helping them become the high character individuals they need to be.
Wonderful, thank you.
I have a question. Is C3 another program, or is it just something we are going to call what we're using?
Yeah, it's going to be, you're not going to see really any change in leadership. You're really not going to see any change in the way we go about things, other than maybe more people being involved, more people investing in not only our athletes, but also our student body. So the C3 is just giving a somewhat familiar ring to the NG3 that has become a brand in our corporation because it's been done very, very well, and people have put a lot of time and effort. Obviously, some of your relatives have put a lot of time and effort in making that what it is. So you're not going to see anything different with that, other than the fact is that we're going to remove some of the things that felt very cumbersome and heavy, and be able to free ourselves up to add more people and help them be part of that process and be able to have a little bit more ownership locally.
Good. Does NG3 have any ownership in that brand that we need to be aware of? And was there any kind of agreement we signed with them that would have prevented us from?
Yeah, there really wasn't, other than us having to name that person that was going to be the head of that organization within our community, which was Jordan Nickus.
Right.
And so we have made everybody aware that needed to be aware in their organization that we will no longer be utilizing that name, their branding materials and that type of thing. So we no longer have their
we're essentially using their program.
Website. Yeah. What's that?
But we're essentially using their program that we I don't
Right.
have a problem with it.
Right.
I just
Were
want to
you-
make sure that they're not gonna have a problem.
I would say we're utilizing a framework that they have come up with. I would also say that it's not gonna cost us money now to fund a director, which is kind of what was happening with Jordan. And so that's gonna be where we're stepping back to say that is no longer, we're no longer gonna utilize a lot of the things that they put in place because of him being able to be in contact with them in Atlanta. So, yeah,
I understand all the advantages and why we did what we did.
Sure.
What I want to know
Sure.
is that, that's probably not something that they want. They don't want to go in and put these programs out there
Sure.
and run them for 1 year and then have these places, oh, well, we don't need you and we don't need to pay you. We're going to take
Sure.
over. So I'd like to know that we are legally protected.
We are
so that we can do that.
we are legally protected. We didn't necessarily sign on a dotted line that we would be loyal to them or have a non-compete, so to speak.
Right.
But yeah, so Jason Thompson has been made aware of that. He's the one that we dealt with a lot. And so, yes. I appreciate that. Yeah. We are covered.
Not that I live in that kind of a world at all.
I understand.
But you do.
Yeah.
I do.
Any other discussion? We'll move on to patrons' comments. Any patrons' comments? Nope. All right, building reports.
All right.
First of all, I'd just like to say I am super proud to welcome 530 students in person to Triton Elementary on Wednesday. I'm really excited about it, and I think that great things are going to be in store for them and their families this year. We had a very successful registration with about 380 of our students on site July 28th and 29th, which was awesome. And thanks to the tenacity of our A team with Angie and Ashley, they really made contact. We have made contact with 100% of our returning students. So we know really exactly who's going to be here. And then also registered a lot of new students as well. We have a full preschool with 3 still on the waiting list. So that's looking good. We had new teacher induction last Monday and teacher training on Tuesday. We have 4 teachers and 2 instructional assistants who will be adding a lot of value to our team this year. So I'm excited. And for them, I'm sure they're getting a little bit anxious to move on, but I think I saw lots of smiles. And Melissa has been working with them on the assessments so that they know how to give those, because many of those are giving in the first few weeks of school. Last week we held preschool orientation for those students and their families, and so that they could get acquainted with the students, so that they could meet the teacher and the aides, the people who are going to be caring for them. And so that was an awesome thing. Plus, our kindergarten teachers have scheduled visits with all of their kindergartners and their parents, brought them into school so that they could have a one-on-one conversation with the parent, let them see the environment that they're going to be in every day for 180 days, and bring in their supplies and so forth. So I think that's really a good thing, both for teachers and for parents and the students. And we had all but 2 of our 80-some students that were able to make those visits. We are having a late start on Wednesday for kindergarten and preschoolers, since we're not having a traditional open house where they can come in and walk their kids to class. We did this last year and it worked out really well. So after the buses have left between 8:15 and 8:30, anybody who can and wants to, has a kindergarten or preschool, can walk their child, park on the upper deck, walk their child to door 2. We have some photos that they can take outside, so we're hoping for good weather. We know this is a momentous occasion, a milestone for many parents, and they like to be able to do that. So we're just not allowing families inside, but there will be staff to greet them and take them inside and get them to their school. We gave them name tags at registration so we can make sure they all get to the right place, even though they really don't know who they don't remember their teacher's name yet. So that will be helpful, I think. I think our grounds look great, and everything both inside and out, thanks to, I'm going to call it the Brew Crew. That's Bruce and his crew, whatever that is. And I think it really looks awesome, makes us proud to invite people in. Also, Jordan, I wanted to thank him too, and the technology crew who's been working all summer in preparation to give us these nice devices, all organized and ready to go. Of course, then the kids will get their hands on them. and they may not stay quite so nice, but they will be useful. Today during our meetings, I feel like we spent a lot of time talking about how this year is going to look a little different than last year. We're going to try and get back to doing some of the things in the classrooms that we didn't do before, but we also just stress caution that we want to see how things are going to go. We still need to be careful. We need to be really reinforce good hand washing and hand sanitizing as we share equipment or share spaces. And we still are creating schedules and spaces to try and still limit the number of places that we would have to contact trace when we do. When that happens. And so I'm happy with where we are, but it's always tentative as we get started and say, this is all subject to change, and it is, and they know that. So I think that was really the bulk of what today was, going over those logistics. Those are the main things. And then as we get those in place and those routines seem like they're working out, and we work the kinks out of them, then we'll be able to focus on really the bigger tasks at hand with the academics and social emotional pieces. Any questions?
You kind of addressed this with the preschool and kindergarten, but parents that say they're new to the corporation, they're bringing their child in that first day, not having an open house, because we obviously sent that information out, just reassuring them that we'll have people, all hands on deck, to make sure that they get to those places safely. And
for sure. And really our preschool kids and all of our kindergartners have all had the opportunity to come in, meet their teacher, and see their space where they're going to be. So that's where the most anxiety usually lies, between those kids or those kids' parents, families, because they're not sure where they're going to be, and they've all had that opportunity. And I think that that's going to help a lot. But new families as well. We've even offered tours to new families who came in, so they could have individual tours if they wanted to see where their child's classes were going to be. Okay.
Okay, for the junior, senior high school, much of what I have to say is kind of repeat here, maybe several times. Starting with registration, a few weeks ago, we also had a successful registration. I think the last time I looked, we had maybe like 395 students, so that is a nice number to see. Thanks to Mindy and Kim, we had counselors on hand that day. We had other staff members pitch in, and I think all that contributed to a successful registration. Also want to bring up 7th grade orientation that we had last week. Another successful night, in my opinion, where we were able to have all the 7th graders in, or those that could attend, along with their parents. And we started out in the auditorium and just kind of just talked about what it might look like as they make that transition over. Then we had them actually go to some classrooms, and we had math, social studies, language arts and science, and they kind of got to almost go through their schedule and sit down with their teachers, parents and student, hear expectations, hear what the class might look like, how to be prepared for their class, and teachers got to meet those students and their parents, and vice versa, and then students got to go back and try their lockers. I think it was a really good format, so I really appreciate our counselors putting that together, and I think that was a successful night. So today's first day for teachers. We covered a lot of information. I know Mr. Riffle and Ms. Cook already brought that up, but just those day-to-day expectations that we need to go over every year, different trainings, just a lot of information thrown at the staff. And I'm sure their head was spinning by the end of the day, but just really appreciate them sticking with us and getting through what we needed to get through. And it was really good to see them back in the building. So it was a good day. Looking forward to next Wednesday, or sorry, not next Wednesday, this Wednesday, when students get back in the building. And I guess that just for anyone that's listening, I would just say that as their students come to the building, they're going to go straight to in front of the main office and pick up a brand new schedule in case there was any changes. And then from there, they're going to go on to SLC, and then we're going to just kind of talk about any changes. And they're not going to have to worry about getting their device right up front. So get your schedule, go to SLC, and then we will go from there. On Thursday, we're going to have grade level meetings. So we're going to sit down with each grade level, and we're just going to talk about expectations. we're going to answer questions that students might have and just kind of welcome them back. So that's what I have at the junior, senior high school, unless you guys have any questions. Okay. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to our administrative team, our directors working hard, Laura Baker working hard with our transportation department, Tom, Jordan, Bruce. So just a lot of people working really, really hard to make sure their area of expertise is taken care of. So just a lot of time and effort goes into making sure that runs smoothly and not have people come and tell you all about it. So it's good. It's good.
All right, if
Thank you,
there's
sir.
no other
Ma'am.
business, we will adjourn at 7:30.